MAGA Trump gay event says LGBTQ plus community already has full equality. As the election season heats up, conservative LGBTQ plus supporters of Donald Trump are hosting Trump unity events across battleground states, aiming to rally support despite his record on queer issues. Recently, the Log Cabin Republicans organized the Unity Tour rally in Charlotte, North Carolina. Gay conservative attendees there downplayed LGBTQ rights and rather focused on economic and border security issues. Gage West, a 23-year-old rally attendee, expressed a common sentiment saying, quote, "I'm not voting because of marriage equality or LGBTQ plus rights. I'm voting because I want more money in my wallet," end quote. Some, like 57-year-old Don Weber, says the LGBTQ community has already achieved full equality. However, queer Trump supporters are somehow forgetting Trump's record on queer rights, including banning transgender military service members, opposing the Equality Act, and appointing judges with anti-equality histories. Critics like former Pennsylvania lawmaker Brian Sims have condemned the unity events for including far-right figures who promote anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric. Sims told The Advocate, quote, "The irony is sickening. They claim to be against grooming, yet they stand side by side with a man who's the real threat," end quote. Queer advocacy groups like the Human Rights Campaign view these events as an attempt to gain votes without addressing the community's needs. Brandon Wolf, HRC's National Press Secretary, told NBC News, quote, "It's unfortunate that you have groups like the Log Cabin Republicans who are willing to sell out the community in exchange to be able to cozy up to someone like Donald Trump," end quote. And who wants to cozy up to Donald Trump? I certainly don't. So, you know, in terms of Log Cabin Republicans, it's always been something that I don't think I will ever quite understand in my lifetime, nor do I care to really quite understand. They have, I believe, you know, just one purpose, and they just want to just make more money. And I guess I am someone that does want to make more money themselves, but, you know, I don't want to hinder my own community or anybody else's community to get that. So that's all I have to say about that.
I live up in Palm Beach County, I think, as you guys know, where there is just a massive amount of support for Trump and a good amount of gay support for Trump as well. So I think that the income piece is certainly a part of it. When you're at a certain high enough income level that there are certain policies that become way more important to you and that define your future differently than they do for other folks. But a lot of others are people who I think are just really dying to belong to something, and that at some point feel rejected by the LGBTQ plus community in some way or another, and that this is just a place that they can go where they don't really feel a part of our community. So I think as moronic as some of these stances are, understanding where they're coming from and having conversations with these folks is one of the most important things that we can do.
Absolutely.
That's a very interesting perception. I wrote down on here that they actually don't think of themselves as part of our community right before we got here. And so therefore they're seeking belonging. And even the rhetoric, I just want more money in my pocket. For me, those types of rhetorics show the downside of capitalism. Capitalism within itself isn't wrong. It's just a system of transaction and how we exchange money. But when you begin to believe that money is some sort of protection, or it protects you from certain things, it means that you don't have as much experience with money as you seem to lead on. I just want more money in my pocket. Well, money won't save you when your partner is dying in a hospital and you can't do anything about it because they won't let you make any sort of decisions unless the close of kin is there. You know, money won't save you in so many different circumstances. There's so many people with money, you know, sitting in situations where you can have all the money in the world, but your rights are not protected. You as a human being is not protected. I think that people value money as this humanizing factor to, you know, I can get whatever I want with money.
It is.
And
it's like a privilege, you know, like where you feel like, you know, the more wealth that you acquire, the more that you're allowed to do, and the more that you're allowed to say, and the more that you're allowed to govern, or whatever that is. And, you know, it just speaks so, you hit it right on the head with that, you know.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sad state to be in when you see those types of experiences and you know you really don't know what you're talking about. And you're shooting yourself in the foot for an idea that you think is going to, you know, make you whole, protect you, or whatever. But actually, your rhetoric is actually harmful to you, in essence.
And you could hear some of that coming through in one of the quotes with like, hey, you know, as gays, we have all of our rights. And what I think that they're also really not so subtly showing you is that we are the L, or we are the G, or whatever. You know, we are the one letter of our community. So if I have marriage rights, then I'm taken care of. But they don't see themselves as part of LGBT. That separation there is I think a way of almost kind of elevating one's status and just not kind of taking care of the whole community. I think your original comment of not really feeling like they're a part of the community is right on. But it's not that they don't feel a part of the gay community, it's that they don't feel a part of the LGBTQ community.
And I wrote down another word, intersectionality. Intersectionality is a thing that people really don't understand. That you know, you may be gay, but your gay experience is different than my gay experience. It's different than your gay experience. It's different than that gay experience. My background, my lived experience says a lot about how I've had to navigate this life. Being a Black queer man is totally different than being a cis white gay man, or a cis white woman, lesbian, or a cis white trans person, or either or. You can interchange all of these identities, all of the words, and intersectionality really shows the level of, when you understand intersectionality, you understand human beings as humans. When you set yourself above in your privilege, you then begin to dehumanize all other experiences that you've never experienced. I don't give a damn about, because we have all our rights, like you said. I can get married. Who cares if you can get a house? Who cares about your housing? Who cares about your medicine? Who cares about the suicide rates of trans and non-binary people? Who cares about that?
Because you're not exposed to it, because it's not in your environment. You know, I mean, it resonates so well with me. I grew up in a Republican family, and, you know, a lot of the values that were bestowed upon me, I did feel was wrong. And so I had to leave, and I had to create my own life around that. And so, you know, I understand, you know, where people's mindsets can get warped. And it you know, when you grow up in privilege, then that's the mindset you have sometimes, unless you're willing to go outside your own backyard.
And you know what, to your point, Edward, this is the moment where I believe, as we move forward in history or in the future, because this is the future as well, as we continue to move forward, people will start to have very humanizing experiences that will make them really have a backlash, have a whiplash. Who could have predicted that Hurricane Helene was going to go all the way up into the mountains of Appalachian and completely destroy North Carolina? When you get put into certain humanizing, grounding positions that make you rethink, because of your life experiences, rethink your rhetoric, you begin to understand other human beings and how we're not in this by ourselves. We're a collective. We got to live and share on this damn planet. We got to eat. We all are trying to do the same thing. But I do believe within my heart that as we continue to move, even past this election, despite what comes, people are going to have very humanizing experiences as to their decisions and their choices as to what will happen for this next week or 2 weeks.
And let's hope we all evolve for the better.
Oh.
Yes.